Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Adam. Welcome to a Microsoft 24 video. This video is going to help you install Microsoft 24 if you're still having issues. We're about a week to 2 weeks after the release of Microsoft 24, and it released with a slew of problems, mainly server overload. The amount of connections trying to download at the same time, the installation packages basically overloaded their servers, and that issue has since been resolved. Even when you got into the sim, it was very laggy to download the sim, on the fly, because there were still people trying to download to install, and it was all coming off like the same old servers. So those issues have been resolved, mainly due to people dropping off. So the servers have been sort of alleviated, but then Microsoft have said that they've done some things behind the scenes to help increase server capacity. So me personally, I've never had an issue. Yes, obviously the download took a long time, but the installation wasn't that long. And once I've been in the sim, I've never had an issue, having the sim and the planes and the airports download through my internet and render into the sim. I don't believe you really need a high internet bandwidth in order to play this game. My internet is 65 to 69 megabits downloading, which is basically the basic phone line connection, and about, I'd say, 18 to 24 megabits uploading. So I haven't got a great up and down speed, and I have no issues. So if you see anybody saying, oh, you need to have mega fast internet, probably not actually. For what you're downloading, and I've been to New York, I've been to out in the middle of nowhere of Africa, I've been all over the world and never had an issue downloading this game. Now I'm going to go through a few things that you can do to help you alleviate long loading times. Okay, so basically we're going to go through the entire installation and setup. Obviously I've already got it installed, so you can get it off Xbox, you can get it off Steam. The basic two differences there is where your community folder will sit. It will be in two different locations depending on where you got it from. Obviously we're on the Game Pass here. The advantage of getting the Game Pass version is no advantage over Steam. The advantage of getting it off Steam is that if the Xbox servers go down, Steam is not affected. But if the Bing data maps go down, then everybody's affected. So, but I play it off Game Pass. I don't play it that often. These playtime hours here are not accurate. This includes time played, includes downloading, includes waiting for the sim to load, includes it being hung for hours on end. So I've actually played probably close to about 45 to 50 hours. And I noticed a lot of these achievements here, like, we're activating them by themselves, even though I hadn't done it. Like, first flight here, complete a flight. I have now since completed a flight, but this badge, as you can see, I unlocked on day 2, or the first day. I hadn't done a flight by then. I hadn't done a flight until like the 4th or 5th day. So yeah, a lot of these achievements are inaccurate, as are the time played. Irrelevant to this video though. So if you do it on Game Pass, you do it on Steam, basically you click install. Now it'll ask you where you want to install it, and the good thing with this is you can install it anywhere. There is an advantage to installing it on your C drive, but the way that this sim is set up, there is no advantage to having it on your C drive. I have mine on my G drive, and it is in an Xbox games folder, and that's the sim there. And then I have my community folder and my rolling cache all in the same sort of folder on the same drive. This doesn't really benefit. Rolling cache and community you know, I'd probably say best off storing it on your C drive, only because Windows caches temp files on the C drive anyway. So now I'm transferring files between these two drives while I play. But the fact that they've put in a rolling cache, I don't know if that actually will take place, because this may be the cache that Windows would do. I don't know. But anyway, I have it on my G drive is basically the point. So you click install, you click where you want to install, and it'll download about 12 gig first. Okay, this is just the installer. Okay, you're not downloading the actual game yet. Once that 12 gig has finished installing, then you will then open up the sim. You'll click play. Now, I recommend having Windows Defender turned on. I've seen a few people say turning it off will help load the sim. I have mine turned off. If we go in here, I use P3D, so I actually do turn off Windows Defender Firewall and all the security for Windows 10, so it doesn't get in the way of me using P3D. But with Microsoft, it is actually important that you do have it running. The reason is if Windows Defender is not running, it will not, the Microsoft Store will not update properly. Okay, all these updates here will not happen properly. Okay, basically that's what you'll get, error encountered, because my Windows Defender isn't running and my Windows Update is turned off. Now, if there is an update through the Xbox app, it will not take place if Windows Defender is turned off or if Windows Updates are turned off. You will still run the sim, as you can see here, but you won't receive any updates. So having Windows Defender and Windows Update turned on is very important. What you can do for Windows Defender, though, is actually create a exclusion for it. Now, you can't see the exclusion now, but I will reactivate in a second Windows Defender, and you will see when I installed Microsoft Flight Simulator 24, it automatically put those exclusions in my Windows Defender, so I didn't have to worry. But if you've got it turned off, then it won't put those exclusions in, so when you reactivate it, you'll have to do it yourself. So what I'll do is I will pause the video here. I will reactivate Windows Defender, reactivate Windows Updates. I have to restart the PC to do that, and then we'll come back and we shall start the installation process and a few best practices as well. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I've reloaded my PC up. I've reactivated Windows Updates and the Defender. So basically, go into advanced settings, and if you want to add an exclusion, if there isn't one already, which there is for me here, you just go to new rule, and then you want to use program, and then you want to select the program. So go find the executable in the Microsoft folder, and then click next, and then also add it to the outbound rules as well. So therefore you have got your no, we don't want to delete. You have got your rules here to allow the connection in and out, and that way you won't have any problems. Like I said, though, if you have got your Windows Defender activated when you install it, this should happen automatically, shouldn't have a problem. So I'm going to click play. This is how fast it loads up with me. I do have add-ons in my community folder, but I've noticed that Asobo have said that there are a lot of airports that are not compatible or that are causing crashes or long loading times. And so within the marketplace, if you've bought anything in 2020, it's been disabled for 2024. So I would say don't have any airports in your community folder when you're booting up the sim. If you're having problems loading in, that is. You know, if you're not having any problems, then great. You could probably put airports in. I have seen people use and fly with airports in their community folder, so it hasn't actually been a problem. But if you're having an issue installing or loading up, then, you know, these are some practices to try. Speaking of best practices, I have seen one on the internet where you go into the time section, or time and language, and you sync now your clock. So I don't understand this, because every time you boot your PC up, it automatically syncs your clock, so you shouldn't actually need to synchronize your clock. The only time you'll need to synchronize your clock is if you're not actually in the correct time zone for your area. So if you look down here, I live in the UK, so I've set London. If this was set to something else, then yes, I would need to sync my clock, because it wouldn't have synced correctly when I booted up Windows. So if you're either using a VPN or you've got an incorrect time zone set down here, yes, sync your clock, but make sure you have got your time zone selected correctly, and you actually shouldn't need to do this. I don't see the person who posted that was with it, like within the marketplace partnership, you know, within Microsoft. So I'm not actually rating that tip. Because if you've set your right time zone, you don't need to click sync now. But one thing you could do is, when you boot up your PC, go into Windows Security, Virus and Threat Protection, and turn off the real-time protection scanning. This happens real-time live, and if you turn it off, it will reactivate within like 15 minutes. But while you're booting up your sim, it won't be checking every single file that's coming in, and making sure that it's not a virus, and then carrying on. That will extend the load time, the installation time. Literally every time I turn my PC on, this is the very first thing I do, is I turn this off. Like I said, after about 15-20 minutes it will reactivate itself anyway, but by then you're in the game, and so it's not an issue. But as you can see here, you can see how fast mine is loading up here. I've never had an issue playing this game ever. And we're already at the start menu. There we go. Like within 60 seconds we got to the menu. That's pretty good, I'd say, for any flight sim, and even going into Free Flight now. We're still installing it, in all honesty. So before I show a couple of best practices on how to start a flight very easily, I will say I've seen people saying VPNs, right? I do have the ability to run a VPN. I'll bring up my extensions if I can. There they are. These are the ones that I use here, and I do have a VPN, but it's turned off. I don't actually run the VPN when I'm in the game. It doesn't benefit you actually to run a VPN either, because if you're installing using a VPN, then it's not going to be selecting the best servers to download it from. It's going to be selecting a server way away from you. That's actually going to take longer to download. It's going to confuse the Microsoft servers, or the Asobo servers, in the download, the installation, and the usage of the sim. So I actually don't recommend using a VPN with this game at all. It's only going to make things worse, I'd say. I know some people have said that they've had luck, but also another thing is the recommended settings for this game is Windows 10. From Asobo, they've said Windows 10 across the board. They've never mentioned Windows 11. Now, I'm not saying that it's not compatible with Windows 11, but a majority of my friends who have had issues with this game have been using Windows 11. So there might be some incompatibility there for this game with Windows 11. I'm sure there are other people who have run it on Windows 11 absolutely fine. I'm not saying you can't run it, but that might be one thing to think about, that if Asobo aren't recommending Windows 11 with this game, that there might be something also happening on Windows 11 that can cause problems for this. So I'm not saying go downgrade to Windows 10 either, but that might be a reason why you're having trouble installing, or doing things like that. Another thing I've done as well, which I know a lot of people won't recommend, is in the security section of Windows, I've actually disabled a lot of this stuff. So I don't have a lot of this stuff running, and that's mainly because I don't need it. I don't pirate software, I don't go onto dodgy websites, so I'm not inviting trouble into my PC, and having this all turned on will basically slow down your use of any application, of any program or any game, because it's basically checking everything you do twice, and making sure that there's no threat. Your router for your provider, your internet provider, the router you use, and I do recommend being wired into that router. Do not use wireless to connect to the internet using this game or any flight sim. But that router has a firewall built within it, and that firewall is actually good enough to protect your PC. You actually don't need all this bloatware rubbish running as well, slowing down your usage of the sim, making things a bit harder for you. So you can turn all that off and be safe in the knowledge that unless you're going on sites that are illegal, then you're not inviting trouble in, and there's nothing actually going to get in, because no IP provider wants a virus running through their network. That's why they put firewalls on your router, so you don't have a virus coming in unless you invite it in. So anyway, we're going to load up to this little island here. I've never been here before. So right now, one thing I'd recommend is, you might type it in here, you might click it on here and then go fly now. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend zooming down into the airport, okay, all the way down until you can see the gates, but wait until the buildings load in. So they might take like 10-20 seconds. There they come. Now I can select my gates, set it as departure. So if you want to build your flight plan, you can. I don't. I just go in, but zoom into the airport like this, wait for the buildings to load in, then start your flight. The reason I say that is because you're downloading the data for all this area. This loading screen here will be greatly minimized. Like, you won't have as a long a wait to get in the sim. Like this, you'll be straight in the sim. Now, one could say, well, it's because you're on an island, mate. You're in the middle of nowhere as well. So yeah. Another thing as well is I've just got to plug in my Xbox controller now, so I'm going to plug it in now and I'm going to turn it on, and I've had actual crashes when doing that in the sim. Luckily it hasn't crashed now, but I have actually had crashes when trying to do that. Ready to fly we are, and there we are. Now, another thing I'd say is it's still loading the data in right now through your internet. Once you first get in, actually do your walk around, even if you haven't got any chocks to remove or pit out covers to remove, although I have over there. I think I just saw one. Then actually physically do your walk around, go into third person and do this. This is basically loading the stuff in the sim. This is giving your sim a chance to load in the detail. Like, this is I would say a best practice. So let me just get that. Oh, it's not a pit-out cover. That's a texture wrap. I don't have any pit-out covers. They're not. Yeah, they're not. They're here, and they're not covered. So I got nothing to do. So we can just jump straight into the sim. And another thing as well is, sadly, FS Realistic does not start by default. So if you're using that, don't forget to start it.
FS Realistic connected.
There we go, and now we are connected to that, which, there it is, running, and there we go. Also have a look around your flight deck. Give it a couple of minutes before you actually start up your flight. Don't just rush into the map as quickly as you can, because you're not doing yourself any favors, because nothing's loading. But like I said, first time I've had a little pause freeze, probably because I'm recording video. But yeah, give it a chance to load. In fact, if we hang on, let me come out of this. Let's go into free cam mode. Let me show you. Like I said, I have got the worst internet, 65 to 69 megabits download, and I've got 18 to 24 upload. So here is how good this game is, even on my connection. We're gonna go, I think this is Africa. Let's zoom down here and head for some green stuff. Yeah, that little green there, head for that. And as we come in, as you can see, it's loading in, and I mean, middle of nowhere like, but that's how good it is. Like, everything's loaded in on the fly as we zoom around the world. Let's try that again. Let's go somewhere where actually there is some detail, because this is the bloody middle of nowhere, this. Let's hop around the world until we actually see some decent stuff. Oh, look, you can see the mapping here put together. I think this is Africa, isn't it? Yeah, that looks like it's got some detail. Let's zoom on down in here. This looks like it's quite detailed. We want a city. There we go. There we go. That's it. That's it. Let's get into that city. We'll plonk ourselves down on the road. Coming in. And everything just loads in. Like, that's how good their servers are, by the way. So if anybody says, oh, it's your internet or it's their servers, mate, don't believe everything you read on the internet. Like, there you go. Everything's literally just loaded in on the fly straight away. Even if it has loaded, like, a bit weirdly, I'd say. But I think that's the way it is. Nothing to do with the loading of it. Let's go somewhere else, shall we? And as you, I mean, it doesn't lose its detail, you know. We'll go properly around the world here. Is this Africa? I don't know where we are. Yeah, this is Africa, I think. It just seems to be the same landmass, doesn't it? Here we go. Here's some green. I don't know what country we're in here, like, but we'll try this one. Gotta get past the clouds first. It's a bit hard to control the camera, to be honest. Gotta say. Okay. Here we go. Whee! Coming in. And it's all there, loaded in. Man, I think their servers are pretty good, in all honesty. Like, is there a way we can put this camera straight? We're at an angle here. Like, sort the horizon line out. But yeah, everything loads in just fine. So, like, I've got the worst internet connection. 65 megabits download, 18 megabits upload. Everything loads in just fine on my connection. So imagine if I had like a 1 gig up, 1 gig down connection. You know? Like, I don't know if that actually helps having a slow connection, because there's only so much data that can come through, but I don't know. But it does work fine. The sim does generate fine, you know, no matter where you go, no matter how you hop around. Let's go to another continent. What's this one? We'll go to this one. Don't know where this is. There we go. Coming in. Feel like an astronaut here, going through the layers of atmosphere and everything. Man, I hope the quality of this is coming through, because this looks amazing. Yeah. Here we are, look. Little house on the prairie. No idea where we are. Probably in Russia. But anyway, there you go. Everything's, you know, obviously different areas of the world, you're going to have different levels of quality for the, not only the map, but the objects and everything else. And then also you can go straight back to your airport. Check this out. This is the best bit. Watch this. Automatically just go straight back to where you were. Like, now we've got loading. Pushed it to its limits, but you know, to be honest, it doesn't wait that long, to be honest. There we go. We're back. How cool is that? Boom! Landed with a smack. And somebody's here. Well, that might be FS realistic. Anyway, so that's basically, you know, just give it a few seconds before you actually load into your airport. You know, wait till the building, zoom down, wait till the building's up here, then load into the airport. You'll have a much smoother experience. Turn off your VPNs, you know, select the correct time zone, and you will have a much better experience, I feel, if, you know, just give it a chance, really. Anyway, I can't think of anything else that I do, but that's basically how I installed it and how I use it. One thing I will say with my community folder, you can move your community folder away. You have to go into the menu in order to do this. We'll go back to the main menu, but if you go to the marketplace, which obviously as of recording this video isn't out yet, you go to my library and there is a little gear mark here, and then you can actually change exactly where you want your community folder. And I put mine in the same folder structure as it was on when I installed it, because your community, even though you install it on a different drive, will actually go on your C drive. And if you're on Xbox Game Pass, it will be in the app data local folder under packages, and then you've got to look for that limitless one, which is here, and then all this here, which to be honest is only about 1. Now it's 3 gig, but when I first did this it was like 1.8 gig, and that was it. And I think it's in the local state packages, and then you find it here, community folder and all that. So, oh no, it's local cache, and then it's here, packages, but I moved it manually to here, local cache packages, on my G drive. So because that's going to fill up, your community folder is the one thing that is going to fill up as you install aircrafts, airports, or whatever. Also, I've increased my rolling cache. So if we go back into the menu and we go to online, you can actually select the rolling cache limit. I put it up to 100 gig. Maybe that's why I have a smoother experience, but obviously the more rolling cache you can put on your drive, the more it'll preload if you go back to the same location twice, and the quicker it will load you in. Also, I don't recommend using the auto server here. I actually choose the server that I use. I find North Europe actually works well. I should be on, I guess, West Europe, but I actually find North Europe works well. But I don't actually do that much multiplayer flying, in all honesty, so but they are that is the way I use this sim. I haven't started the career mode. I don't think there's any point in starting the career mode at the moment, basically because Asobo are going to be updating and changing this game, which could change the career mode. And then if you've already started and they change it, I don't know what problems that's going to cause in the future. But I've just been walking around photographing things, doing the odd DC-3 flights. I've had a better experience on the ground than so many people in the air. And I know there's been a lot of crashed desktops with this. I've never experienced a crashed desktop, but when I first did boot this up, when I did use the quit desktop, it would pause and freeze the sim, and it would be like, and you know, that's when I'd have to end it in the task manager. Also, one more tip, the final tip: if you load in and your airplanes are there's no sound to the default planes, go to the installation folder on your C drive where the main stuff is. So we want packages, limitless. I believe it's, you want to look for streamed packages here. Delete that folder entirely. Reload the sim. It will rebuild all of these, which are all your default planes, by the way, and your default content. It will rebuild when you reload the sim, and that will fix the sound issues. Also, make sure you actually do have a sound source selected. I disable all the ones I don't use. I only have one for playback and one for recording. Everything else gets disabled, so there's no confusion. It can only choose one. If you have multiple ones, obviously one of these is going to be a default, and you can actually choose which one you can set as default if there's more than one active. But if you do a Windows update, it can change your default one you're using. So for instance, if I was using this digital audio SDBF one and I did a Windows update and it changed my default to this one, all my applications are looking for speakers and it's not being used because now this is trying to be used. So therefore I don't have any sound in my applications or games. And so to avoid all that, I just have one for playback, one for recording, and then that's all I set. I make sure also to set that in the game. If it just says use default, I actually switch it off that and actually select one. And that's basically it. That's everything I do. I will be doing more videos for Microsoft 24. I actually do rate this. I think it is actually pretty good. The fact that it doesn't have a large hit on your drive, it's all streamed in. It's not going to last forever, but enjoy it while it lasts. I think it really is good. They've increased the fidelity of the planes, the flying, dynamics have been increased. Still a lot of way to go though, but it's good, and I'm enjoying walking around photographing animals. And I climbed Mount Everest the other day. There is no Wall of China. I wish there was, but I'm enjoying this. And if you've got any issues, that's how you get it going. I don't think there's anything else beyond this that you could do. If it's still crashing, or if it's still you're having issues installing the game, maybe just go back to 2020, or play a different game, or wait until they've updated it a few times. It will get better. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I actually do give away, by the way, 50 euros of FLIGHTSIM vouchers every single month on my channel. To be in with a chance to win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, leave comments down below in my videos, and at the end of every single month I go live with a vlog and announce the giveaway winner. You get 50 euros to spend at Sim Market on FLIGHTSIM add-ons, and I do this every single month. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope it helps you. Leave comments down below if you've got any more questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.